Good morning, New Vision Center. My name is Reverend Leslie, and I'm one of your senior ministers today. And it is a wonderful world when we lean into this beautiful opportunity to be together in all of these different ways, to be physically in the sanctuary together, to be online, participating together. We had a difficult time getting people, including me, to come into the sanctuary because we were so busy hugging and chatting out on the breezeway that we missed the first opening, some of us. We're just really, really happy to have this expanded sense of freedom to be together. Our talk today is called Mining for Diamonds. And if you are new, I invite you to go back and watch some of our previous talks over the course of 2021 because we have an annual theme going on, and it is the spiritual hero's journey. The premise of which is that we are each a hero in our own spiritual hero's journey. And as we go through this process, as is laid out originally by Joseph Campbell and then adapted and made gender neutral by subsequent writers and philosophers, we go through this relatively repeatable, recognizable, analyzable process that shows up in our individual lives, as well as through movies and stories and mythology and the Bible, and basically anywhere you look for a story, we see this hero's journey, and that we're each on our own individual hero's journey. And so when we look at this is, kind of your basic chart of the hero's journey. At the beginning of the year, we talked about the call to adventure, and sometimes we reject the call because it sounds scary, and like hobbits, we want to stay home and have second breakfast. We talked about meeting a mentor and putting our team together and establishing our skill sets and getting ready for the journey. And we talked about crossing over the threshold from the usual life, the life we're used to, into the unusual, the unknown, the new. Whether we are literally hobbits venturing out of the Shire or, taking on a new job, or stepping into a new relationship phase, whatever it is that our journey is about, we've crossed over the threshold, and we are now here in this in-between phase. Now, in every story you've ever heard of, it looks like this. So we'll take Harry Potter. Harry Potter's story would be very short and kind of boring if it was Harry Potter was an orphan, he went to magic school, he beat Voldemort. The end. It never works like that, does it? First, he has to overcome challenges in letting people into his life. And then he has to overcome challenges with Snape, that mean teacher who he does not get along with. And then he has to overcome challenges with the three-headed dog Fluffy, and what happens with Draco Malfoy. And bit by bit, he's going through kind of smaller hero's journeys along the way, right? And what he's doing in that is building up his skills. So here's why this is important. In the cycle of our life, we have challenge, find the gift, triumph over the challenge, integrate the gift, move forward. Challenge, find the gift, triumph, integrate the gift, move forward, right? That's a really strange line dance, but that's what we do. Here's the trick. We can't let the challenge become the whole story. You've all heard of Viktor Frankl, right? He's a Jewish gentleman who was a psychoanalyst who ended up in concentration camps. And upon being liberated from concentration camps, he wrote a great many things, but one of the things that he's most famous for is his book, Man's Search for Meaning, in which he talks about they can take everything from you, but they cannot take your will to live. They cannot take your will to be positive. They cannot take your self-perception. You hold on to that. Viktor Frankl's story could have been Jewish psychoanalyst goes into concentration camp. That's a legitimate story. But because he chose to find gifts within himself, triumph over the situation, integrate those gifts and then move forward with them and share those gifts, we know a very different story. It is extraordinarily common that someone comes into my office or Reverend Karen's office and they have something going on that is an intense personal challenge. And they say, and I can't see the gift. People keep telling me there's a gift. People keep telling me God doesn't give you anything if there's not a gift. And I don't want to talk about the gift. Screw the gift. And they're right. So phase one of this process is the one that we in religious science, in New Thought, in spirituality, #spirituality, we like to skip the part that is be where you're at. Be where you're at. Don't go looking for the gift right away. It is an unkindness to yourself to lose your mother and be sitting at the wake going, I gotta find a gift, or I'm a bad religious scientist, I gotta find a gift. Breathe, mama. Let yourself feel your feelings. Viktor Frankl didn't write Man's Search for Meaning while in the concentration camp. We have to experience and feel our feelings where we are in the moment first. We don't want to build a house there, but we do want to spend our time actually processing what we're going through. Otherwise, we're pretending to move on. We call that spiritual bypass. The whole good vibes only. Well, you know what? We are human beings. And human beings have happy moments and sad moments and motivated moments and couch potato moments. I've watched a lot of Netflix, y'all. But I've also done a lot of spiritual writing. And so sometimes you just have to be where you are and let yourself be a human being. When we try to push forward too quickly, we are cheating ourselves out of the experience that will be the growing ground for the gift. Mom dying, husband leaving, falling down and breaking your hip is not where the gift comes. The gift comes from sitting in the experience and letting it emerge from the inside. I absolutely adore the poem that Karen shared today because, Michelangelo said he didn't sculpt. He just found a block of marble and took away everything that God told him didn't belong there. We are that. And the tumult that is sitting in being where we're at is the tumble that is moving away, that which is no longer true about us, that opens us up to the new, beautiful gift that will eventually emerge. It requires a lot of patience of us to sit in the uncomfortable. But it's essential if we want to emerge different from how we came in. It's essential. When we have given ourselves what we need, when we have honored our truth, a time will come when there is an internal impetus. This is always my hand motion for internal impetus. It comes from the inside and it eventually moves me forward. That's when it's time to take that step into what is next for me, and the gift emerges there. Kate McGann said that deep within every crisis is an opportunity for something beautiful. Deep, y'all, deep within. Not on the surface, not laying there like a pretty rock to pick up. It's deep in there. And we have to let ourselves be quiet to go deep. And then when we're deep, that's where the diamonds are. They're not lying on the top. We got to go deep for that. Deep within every crisis is opportunity for something beautiful, but you have to look for it. It's a decision. When I hear that beautiful song that Rick sang just now, What a Wonderful World, I'm so present to the choice Louis Armstrong made. It is not hard for me to imagine that as Louis is walking along and he's seeing trees of green and red roses and friends shaking hands, someone else was walking down that same street saying, see, the black and white people aren't talking to each other. See, that kid fell and hurt his knee. See, it's sunny now, but it's going to rain. I saw on TV, it's going to rain. It's going to rain at 4 o'clock. It's a choice. It's a choice to focus on the positive enough to fuel being able to make change where we can. It's a decision. And it might be very different than you think. The gift might be different than you think. It doesn't mean that you will be glad the challenge happened. Sometimes I think we're afraid to go deep in mind for the gift because it feels like that it's okay that my friend died, or it's okay that I had a miscarriage, or it's okay that they fired me. No matter how great the gift is, you may get to a place where you're like, at least I see where this good came from. But let us take a nice deep breath and let go of the phrase that is the bane of my existence, and that is, God has a plan for me. How many hearts have been broken by people sitting in deep existential crisis and hearing, God wouldn't give you any more than you could handle. I have wanted to flip God off a couple times in moments like that. What if we shifted that to, there is something beautiful to be found in every situation? What if we shifted that to, God is here supporting me in every situation? What if we shifted that to, there is something for me to grow into in every situation? And stop casting the divine as this lesson-building punisher of those who haven't learned all of our lessons yet. Because that's the secret underbelly of that, right? If God is giving me a lesson and my mother dies, is that a God we believe in? I know those hashtags are cute and those little social media graphics that say those things are cute, but at the core of this teaching, at the core of New Thought, at the core of Science of Mind, is not a God that has a plan for us. It's a God that only wants us to express fully and is here for us with an under-leveling, uplifting support, whatever comes. That always is here with another gift for us, whatever comes. Breathe. Take a breath with me. If this is a new idea, just let it hang out here. Just let it hang out here and see if it doesn't start working for you. I threw my mic on the ground. I'm just going to carry it. The gifts of crisis can involve a lot of different things. They can involve learning that you have skills and capacities that you never knew you had because you never had to use them before. Harry Potter learned he had parcel tongue. Who knew? He could talk to snakes. You're not around any snakes, you don't find out you can do that. A lot of us have found out through jobs that we didn't think we wanted, that we had really good skills that we didn't know we wanted to have, and then ta-da, we're fabulous. Surprise! whether you're a really good organizer, whether you like to randomly sing on stage, we find our things that we're good at by being put in situations we didn't ever know we could be in because we didn't seek them out. A challenge can put us somewhere where some new facet of our inner diamond shines that we didn't know was going to happen. It can come from finding meaning. Matthew Shepard was a young man who was brutally tortured and murdered quite many years ago now, simply because he was gay and in a space where some young men around him were not comfortable with that. The number of people who have found meaning in their life through activism to protect the LGBTQIA community that began with this particular murder is astounding. When his family came to the trial of the men who killed him, they were very concerned about having to see the faces of these murderers. And they were even more concerned about having to see counter-protesters who were actively campaigning against gay people in the most hateful, unkind ways. And dozens and dozens and dozens of people built these enormous wings, 15, 20 feet tall. And they stood in a line and they held up these wings to block the view of the counter-protesters from the family of Matthew Shepard for hours. And they rotated out. It turns out there were hundreds of people who spent the course of this trial making sure that this family, who had already experienced such challenge, didn't have to go through that particular re-traumatization. And Matthew Shepard's mother has spent the intervening 20-some years in activism to protect other people's sons, other people's daughters. This has become the meaning of her life and the meaning of so many lives that participated in this particular situation and beyond, as we learn that we can be the diamond for someone else. As we find this piece of ourselves, it can become strength and resiliency that you didn't know you had. For me, the one that really comes up for me in my own personal life is I have had a number of physical challenges in my life, as you well know. And there is a quietness and a depth of soul that I am not sure I would have been able to calm down my hyper peppy little self long enough to find that is required for this work. A level of compassion for people in kind of the long haul challenge. The chronic illnesses, the mental illnesses. I wasn't that person before. Didn't occur to me to think about it before. It's literally the point of my life now. Isn't it interesting how your gifts, the gifts of your challenge, become your superpowers? Become the infinite strength of who you really become. So once we claim this gift, once we recognize it, we go deep, we find it. First step is we have to see it. We have to claim it. We have to notice this new piece of ourselves that has shown up or shown up in a bigger way. Hey, did you notice? I sit more beautifully with people in crisis and listen better now. Hey, did you notice? I am more able to stand strong for someone. I'm willing to speak up. I'm willing to be quiet. I'm able to go the distance. I'm able to claim when it's not mine to do. Whatever it is, we have to claim it, name it, realize it, for it to really become a part of who we are instead of just sort of a wandering phase that we pass through. Once we claim it, we anchor it. And here at New Vision Center, we anchor things through spiritual practice, through affirmations. I am, plus whatever you've noticed being birthed in yourself that you wish to be. I am a calm, loving listener. I am stronger than I ever knew. I am brave and stand up for others. Whatever it is, I am. And then we take that affirmation into meditation and let it really steep within our souls. This is the truth of who I am. The divine in me is showing up as this gift I've claimed. And then, my friends, we got to use it. Actively, consciously, intentionally. We put it into use with the beloveds around us. Because a superpower isn't powerful if we don't use it. It doesn't matter that Superman can fly if he doesn't leap into the sky and rush off and save poor Lois, which really, we got to work on Lois finding her own self-rescuing skills here. It's not a super, it's just a super potentiality until we're using it. So we use it. We seek out ways to use our gift until it is such second nature that we have so integrated it. We found our challenge, we found our gift, we let it steep, we deepened into it, we claim it, we integrate it, and then we what? Go on to the next challenge. And as we work our way, if you can have the Spiritual Hero's Journey picture up again. As we work our way across the process, we move trials and failure, growth and new skills. Trials and failure, growth and new skills. Trials and failure, growth and new skills. Until we are ready for the big change. Whatever big change we're working on. And in case you haven't noticed, all these movies and books we keep talking about how much we love them, there's never just one book. There's never just one movie. They go through all the small challenges to have the big ta-da at the end, and they become a new person, and then what do? You go to the next movie, and they do it again. And that's what life is. That's what life is. There's always the next journey. There's always the next level of depth. There's always the next way to be God-informed even more completely as we continue to anchor it and anchor it and anchor it. It becomes a deeper and deeper truth of who we really are. Ernest Holmes tells us in the Science of Mind textbook, life is ever giving of itself. We must receive, utilize, and extend the gift. This is the truth, and so it is. So let's anchor this in some prayer. Oh, how good it is to lean into affirmative prayer and recognize that sweet spirit is always right where we are, who we are as we are, through each one of us, showing up profoundly and beautifully, supporting every breath, every thought, every action, every moment of quiet, and every moment of movement. That there is no specific plan, that the plan is that we be God in form and know that Spirit is always there, bringing forth the depth at the core of our being that it placed there when it made us. That we are the love of God, the power of God, the abundance of God, that we are the depth of infinite spirit, the wholeness of the divine mind, the intelligence of the infinite oneness. There is no divine good thing that we are not. And therefore, everything we need is right where we are. As we pray, as we anchor, as we center in on the truth, in the gratitude of this moment, I simply know that it's true. As we say together, and so it is.